Let's go to Yo Joe in Los Angeles, California. What's up, Joe?
Hey, John. How you doing?
Man, we are rocking on to the break of dawn, man. How are you?
It's a day. Definitely been one of those weeks.
Yes, sir, it has. It has. The world went sideways.
Yes.
Man, so what's up? How can I help?
Like lots of folks, trying to pick up the pieces. Some context. I had a brain injury long time ago. Left me with some residual damage in my and associated disconnects, which I think you may know about. But long story short, I have a very, very rare but very serious, when they happen, outbursts that a lot of times people with brain injuries do.
Yep.
But
what do your outbursts consist of?
Self-harm, where I'll be hitting myself. I will go into like a very, what I would perceive in the moment, I guess like a safe space, like a bathroom or like a closet or something, and I'll just start like yelling at not yelling, but like repeating at myself, very angry things.
What unwinds you when you hit that switch? What is able to bring you back?
Silence. Knowing that, honestly, myself, since my brain injury, I've been to 20 plus neurologists, psychologists,
of course,
therapists, family counselors.
Yeah.
And I self-administer, not self-administer, that's definitely the wrong word. I definitely go through the process of, even outside of my family helping myself with doctors and neurologists and therapists. I've even submitted myself into clinical trials at different universities.
Yeah.
A group which I'm going to leave the name out, but they're pretty well known in the brain world, the brain scan world. Been working with them, trying to narrow down what it is that's causing my outbursts.
Okay. Can we stop for a second? I want everybody to hear this. And this is just two guys hanging out in the back of a tailgate on the back of a truck in a parking lot. I can't think of a scarier thing in the world, knowing that at certain moments when I unprovoked and somewhat unpredictable, my own brain turns on me. That's a fear that very few of us walk through the world with. And man, I just want to say I'm sorry. I hate that for you.
I appreciate that, but the way my brain works, I have a lot of issues with executive decision making, which is why I honestly, the parts of my brain that were affected were the executive decision making parts.
Right. What was the injury acute? What was it?
I sustained a brain injury after getting hit by a vehicle. Was in a coma for a month. Forgot, a lot of my life, most of it, honestly, before the injury, and a lot of memory recall issues. But I also have this savant-like memory storage thing where I know it's there. The memories are there. Mm-hmm. I just can't access them. But then if I have a trigger, which is, through different sensories, those triggers can put me to a near, photographic state of, being. Yeah. But the issues of me, I'm in a process, a path, where I'm going to get better. Every day gets a little better. It's two steps forward and 2 steps back, but at least I know I can keep moving, and eventually I'll break through that. But where my question is, man, I've been an asshole to my wife. I don't, for some reason, I have the ability to control myself verbally. I've never been a physical person, period, to anybody, but I've said some mean things in those moments. The outbursts only happen when I'm with, either a family member or by myself. And again, it's like once or twice a year that I've had this since my injury. That it's like gotten to the point where I break. But it's unfortunately my wife is usually present when it happens. And I've said things that I'm not going to get into details, but I've said, I called my wife, bitch, and I said, I'm not going to say it on here.
Yeah.
But, and I don't remember doing it, and I'm not going to, I know I said it. I can't deny it. I don't know how to stop it. And it's not things I think of her. It's not things but now I've been living in a hotel for the last month, or a week, sorry, not a month.
Okay. So is she done?
It feels like it. Yeah.
When's your most recent outburst?
It would have been about 10 days ago.
Okay.
And then I went to the bathroom, I turned the shower on and started hitting myself in the head. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened, what triggered it. I think we had a very menial argument.
Okay.
And then, I went to the bathroom, started not hitting myself, but just doing, I guess, nervous tapping, aggressive tapping. I'll say that because it wasn't. I know if I hit myself, I've never bruised myself, so I'm not trying to kill myself in that point or leave lasting damage. It's just something that I do since my injury. I don't know why, but
so what is your wife saying? I'm out. I'm done. Or I can't live like this.
The quote is, I can't be emotionally attached to you. And I understand that.
Yeah.
She's not a therapist. She's not a psychologist. And I met her when she was, a very young adult. Not very young adult. She was in her early 20s. And so.
Man, I'm sorry, dude.
And I don't know how to.
So she lost the guy that she knew, right? Did she know you pre-accident, pre-car wreck?
No.
Okay.
No.
So she's met you since then. So how long have y'all been together?
10, a decade. Yeah.
Decade, man.
Decade. We lived together for 7. We've been married for 3.
And when did the outburst begin?
I mean, as far as I know, they were regular outbursts when I had my injury and I was, a teenager. And my parents, they had to put up with that. And
but I mean, in your marriage, how many times have you gone after her like you did the other day?
3 times.
3 times.
The way I did. Yeah. 3 times, I think. And I had a very good job, very, very good job. Mm-hmm. Actually, a series of very good jobs. And then, COVID happened and I lost the job. And this is the context that you're missing, or that I think you might not. I don't think I mentioned it, but I did try to kill myself a couple years ago, and I don't ideate anymore. I know that I know now because of all the money I've spent, on those scans in my brain, that I know why I ideate. So I know, at least I know it's not some part of me that wants to kill myself. It's just in the brain that's working the right way.
There you go.
And it's overacting, and a part of my brain that is saying, hey, hurt yourself, kill yourself. You don't belong here.
Sure.
But,
so has she been able to come back from that? That can be devastating on a relationship.
No. No. It's been a long, the first year feeling sorry for myself afterwards, not trying to even recover, and, still trying to apply for work. I'm still trying to apply for different jobs and getting work, Then I had money saved up after my work, my job that I lost. We were okay with money. We were able to take trips once in a while. But
so bring me down to how can I help you, man? I know you got so much going on. I'm glad that you're getting the help that you need and you're surrounded by the best experts in the world. How can I help you, man?
I've been listening to the show the last couple of days, and it's been honestly giving me the answers that I needed. But I think the first question I had when I initially called to see if I could get on the show was, how can I save my marriage? Mm-hmm. Like everybody, or like so many people. But now it's, I want to save my marriage, but I also want my wife to be with somebody. Not that she needs to be with somebody, because she's a completely independent woman, and she's so amazing at everything she does. I think I'm just looking for the inspiration, the help, the good ending story where they still are in each other's lives, and where she can trust me again, because her a former partner of hers did lose his life that way.
Okay. So she's got a history of trauma too, and this is a story that she's seen play out, right? And in her mind and in her body, she knows how the story ends. And that's terrifying for anybody. Here's two things I hear. Number one, she took herself, or you took yourself out of a situation where I don't want to hurt somebody that I love. And I think that's noble and good. What makes me uncomfortable is your language is shifting to, she deserves somebody that. And what that language means is you are starting to view yourself as a burden to her. And when you do that, you know what happens next. Because burden talk, relational burden talk, is the last of the trifecta of why am I even here anymore? People would be better off if I wasn't here. And so I know you tell me you're done ideating and all that. I don't like the trajectory of the language you're using. Am I onto something, or tell me I'm crazy?
You are.
Okay.
Yeah, you are.
So hear me say this. I do think if you scared your wife, if you yelled and screamed and got in her face and called her horrid things.
Yeah, and I do want to add, I've everything's a progress. Everything's
of course
a step,
it is.
And when we first met, again, I've never put my hands on her. I never put my hands on anybody in my life.
Sure.
But I wouldn't understand certain cues, and we would be getting in a very, sometimes loud, we yell at each other. Okay. And because neither of us grew up in environments where people talk to each other, like we're talking now, even though we both been working on it.
Sure.
But, I used to not understand social cues, I can't, corner my wife in the bathroom. And so now what I do is I put my hands up in the air, I back away. So she kind of gets those cues, I'm not trying to push you in the corner. I'm trying to make sure
yes.
And I think I overstep because I put myself into a place where I look at myself like I'm like this monster, which I've never been a physical monster. I've never been.
That's right. And listen to me. I'm not accusing you of that. Okay.
No, I know. And we're not petty to each other. We don't make fun of each other. We don't poke holes at each other. We just don't do that.
Sure.
She's never ever done that to me. She's never, and we don't. I don't do that to her. We don't belittle each other.
Yes, she knows who she married. That the person she married.
Well, she didn't know that. That's the problem.
Hold on.
Because I had
10 years.
Yeah,
10 years. Okay, so let me.
5 of which I was very high functioning.
That's great. That's great.
I should know signs.
Okay, but the reality is here's where we are. Okay,
yeah.
I do think that there is a chance that your marriage can be saved. I think there's a great chance your marriage can be saved. I also think that in this particular moment, a little bit of space between the two of you is a wise thing. And doesn't mean that the thing is over now. And you say things when you are having a storm is what I've known to call them, the neurological storm, when your brain's trying to talk to itself and it's not communicating with itself well. And man, when you have those storms and somebody's on the receiving end of that, it is wise for them to back out, okay? That doesn't mean unplug forever. My oldest friend on planet Earth, the oldest friend I have, has a traumatic brain injury. And I know by the emails I get, by the conversations we have, I'm not even going to respond to this because he is storming in a way that makes him think that we are having a conversation that we had 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And my best course of action is to unplug for a week or two. Okay? That's the best thing we do. And then I circle back and we're good. And he's got people in his life who love him and walk alongside him and care for him. And so it's very similar. So what I'm telling you is it is wise and safe and smart for your wife to back out right now. You scared the crap out of her. And everybody in this world knows you didn't do that on purpose. Okay? You're walking through some things.
I don't know if I didn't do it on purpose because I don't recall these moments happening.
And here's what I'm telling you. Listen to me. You didn't do it on purpose, Joe. Okay? Hear me carefully.
I also, and I appreciate you saying that, but there are other people that are listening, I'm sure, that I want to make sure folks know that I don't see myself as a victim whatsoever.
Joe, quit apologizing. You're a good man. You're a good man with some major challenges. Nobody's feeling sorry for you. We're walking alongside you. You can say
so
you're not
I have a very specific question then.
Okay, go for it.
Here's the question. If I truly love someone, which I do, and I know that I think that they love me still. The first half of our life together, I showed no signs of a brain injury. I was completely normal, like a typical functioning normal person. And I'd say that, we're still normal even with brain injuries, which is a little more difficult. All right. So the question, if she was not raised in this, she doesn't necessarily have that same foundation and that support network I do. Okay. It's just true. I have family, I have friends, I have people all over the country that I could go to. She doesn't necessarily have that same support group.
Okay, give me your question.
And she also doesn't have an education. She does an education in brain, brain and neurology. She's not a neurologist. She doesn't have the training, and she doesn't necessarily have the time.
Joe, get to your question. What are you telling me?
How does she deal with me? Like, how does someone like me, like, give her the space and she respect? How does she just deal with me? Like, how?
Here's how.
Yeah.
Your relationship is not special in this regard. The particular challenge within your relationship is, but your relationship as a whole is not. It's what me and my wife went through. It's what James and his wife went through. It's what Kelly and her husband went through. It's what we all go through, which is I make a decision to lean in and say, I want to know as much about you as possible. I want to know how I can love you better. What are your turn-ons, and not just sexual? What are the things that bring you peace and joy in your life? And what are the things I can do that contribute to the offs? Everyone has those in their relationships. And the relationships that make it are the ones that remain curious as people grow and change, which we all do. When we find out new things, when somebody has been married for 7 years and then they have a daughter, and all of a sudden the trauma of their sexual abuse as a kid comes flooding back and nobody saw it coming. And the husband's sitting there going, I don't have any experience with this. And he chooses to go get counseling himself, to go to marriage counseling, to go to trauma therapy so he learns the words, to take a local community college class for free or for $350 or whatever it is, to read every book you possibly can, to listen to podcasts like this. It becomes a way of life because that way of life is love. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you love her, you will not take her autonomy away to love you back. That's not love.
Right.
You can't preemptively say, I love you so much, I'm cutting this thing off so that you can't whatever, so that you don't get whatever. You don't get to do that if you love her. Love says, I'm going to walk alongside her as she chooses whether she's in or out. And if she chooses in, I'm going to go to her with her to the classes. I'm going to go to her with her. I'm going to let her come to my appointments with me so she can begin to learn and get a context, and have the psychiatrist and the neurologist and all the brain scientists that are walking alongside you look at her and say, when this happens, you need to call this number and he needs to leave the house for a day. That's part of life. It's if I have a disorder where if I eat gluten and I vomit everywhere, if I happen to get gluten and I throw up all over the house, you know what I mean? Like we have a plan now, whatever that happens to be. Your plan is exceptional. Let's be super clear. You've got a traumatic brain injury that sounds like it's been with you for a long time, and you are busting your butt to heal. Healing, though, can't be done in a vacuum. You can't heal by yourself, Joe. You got to bring her along with you. And you got to tell her, I'm deeply sorry. I'm healing. You are walking alongside me from this point forward. I'm not doing this alone anymore. We're married. We're in this together. And if she says, I'm out, that's a grown-up choice she makes. That will be heartbreaking and devastating. And it does not mean that it's all on you. It does not mean that somehow you failed. You've got challenges that you have to have somebody that walk alongside you in those challenges. Are they different? Yeah. Are they hard? Yep. The apology comes as I accidentally hurt you in a state of that was directly correlated to my injury. I caused you hurt, and God, I'm heartbroken. I'm so sorry. Here's what I'm going to do to continue to work to get better. Please join me in that. Joe, listen to me carefully. You're worth love. The world is going to be worse if you're not in it. The world's better because you're in it. Your fighting spirit and your bravery will lift up your communities and the listeners of this show. And it's time to stop trying to protect her as much as allow her to walk alongside you. Allow her to walk alongside you. And keep grinding, keep growing, keep getting better, keep getting better, keep getting better.